Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak the double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who rules well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of this video is More Proof Esau is a so-called white man. Right? And basically it's just that, Esau, so-called white man. We'll just get into it, be real quick. I got this video here from the elder apostle Har of GMS. Page is what is the 666 Mark II, GMS Truth. Subscribe me edify, right? Title is the IUIC and the church are both wrong. And basically in this video, he goes into the fact that you have IUIC, a Christian church, basically, is arguing with another Christian church about, basically calendars, the day that Yahweh Shai, rose, and whatnot. And basically, you have to watch the elder apostles video here, and he breaks it down, right? But basically, the days before wasn't, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It was what's written in the scriptures, and that is the first day, the second day, the third day, the fourth day, right, and so on. Anyway, so here's a little bit of that.
So let's come back over here. So IUIC says, oh, he was crucified on Wednesday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Actually, you would have to raise a second after Friday night Saturday night going to Sunday. So it's still Sunday. But they're going off on that because you had 8 days. Because it says the first day of the week. So they're saying that he rose on a Saturday, according to what they believe the Sabbath comes in on. So the first, let's say he raised on a Saturday, the first day of the week would be a Sunday. But then if you go back,
what the elder apostle is doing is, just throwing out hypotheticals, because when you're listening to these Christian churches, nothing they say makes sense. So we even try to just throw out a hypothetical, and even in the hypotheticals, they end up to be wrong, right? Everything they do is just wrong. It's contrary to the scriptures, right? Because they're like the elder apostle Tar is going to say, they're fighting and bucking up against the word, they're just going off. The blind leading the blind, and they all going to go to that ditch.
By the Julian calendar, wasn't the Gregorian, it was the Julian calendar. The first day of the week would have to be on a Monday. So he had to have risen on a Sunday, which makes the Sunday a Sabbath. So you IUIC guys, you got to worship the Sabbath on a Sunday. So you're way off. So let's listen.
Is if we worship something that's not in the scriptures, then we're worshiping something that is pagan. But
but I was saying your point. I never disagreed to your point.
The thing is, you said maybe it is, maybe.
See, the church people are being cordial, but they're bucking up against anything. That's another reason why you have no business talking to the church. They're not saying we don't want to hear it. They're just bucking up everything you're saying. They got their thing. Goes back to Romans 11. That you be wise in your own conceit. The church really think they have the truth. And the IUIC really have the truth. They have more of the truth than the churches have, but they're both wrong right here.
Maybe it didn't.
I just thought that we had differences in opinion. But go ahead. Go ahead.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 2.
Yeah, and Bishop Nate never answer my question. He said when this was last Saturday, he said when the Lord was on the cross, that there was darkness for 3 hours. I don't know if he mentioned 3 hours, but we all know it's talking about 3 hours of darkness from the 6th hour to the ninth hour. And he said, "Oh, that was an eclipse." Well, you got to specify what type of eclipse are you talking about. There's 2 eclipses: solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. I even made a video with the title, Bishop Nate IUIC, what eclipse occurred when the Lord was on the cross, or something to that effect. He hasn't answered it. And he watches our video, so he knows that I asked that question. So I'm waiting for him to tell me what you said it wasn't. You said, I got the receipts. You said that the 3 hours of darkness was an eclipse. My question is, was it a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse? And with either answer you give me, I got you. That's called cornering somebody. That's called cornering somebody. and check when you're going to checkmate somebody, you already know that if you make that move, the guy kind of smiles. He said, "Checkmate." So I'm gonna checkmate you. You don't want to make that move. You rather walk away from the chessboard, my brother. So let's listen. See, we're very analytical. We teach GMS from the apostles on down, and the elders. We all teach the same thing, as the scriptures say that you all teach the same thing, and it's the way we teach. We teach with a fine tooth comb. Okay.
Right. So, basically that question has been put out there for the leadership of IUIC, and he's ducking and dodging the question. That's because why? There's possibly some elect members, in the flock of that camp that's window shopping, and basically, what's his name? The leadership of IUIC is being found out to be false prophets, right? Going off on the word and leading their congregation astray. So we're fishing for that hopeful elect, doing the Lord's work. So that's pretty much what he's going into. But what they did here was what they was arguing over the day and the calendar and things like that. So I did a few questions because I want to look into the calendar myself. The Georgian calendar, the Julian calendar, the Hebrew calendar, and things like that. So this title is More Proof Esau's the White Man, right? We have, when was the new calendar introduced? It says the Georgian calendar, the calendar system used in most parts of the world today, was introduced in 1582. It was introduced by Pope Giorgio as, let's see what number this is. There we go. 13. All right, it's number 13. All right, so Pope Giorgio 13 as a modification and replacement for the Julian calendar. So they're switching up the times, right? It says the Georgian calendar was implemented by skipping 10 days. So they also introduced this calendar by skipping 10 days ahead. It says in October 1582. So Julian Thursday, October 4th, was followed by Georgian Friday, October 15th. So the moment they introduced this calendar, they skipped a number of days. It says 10 here. Right, and it's more proofs and more records of them skipping days and all type of things. This is Daniel. The point I want is in 25. We'll read this from 15. Daniel 7:25, 15 says, "I Daniel was grieved." And what is this going to? This is going to the beasts that will rule the planet Earth. You got what, the Babylonian, the Medo-Persian, right? The Greeks, the Roman empires, right? So we're in the last beast, which is the Roman Empire, and that is the revised Roman Empire, which is America. And this devil will come in and do what? Change times, laws, and seasons. That's what he did. I just showed you on Google that what the calendar was introduced at the period of 1582, right? Keep that in mind. This is Daniel 7:15. "I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the vision of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him of the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High, which is us, the Israelites, the hopeful elect, the so-called black man, woman, and child, right? It says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever." So the kingdom that's about to come, which is after the four kingdoms that was on the planet Earth, is the kingdom of the saints. And this kingdom will last forever, right? And all nations will be subject to it. It says, "Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails as brass, which devoured, break in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows." This is talking about America. All right, America is that person whose look was more stout than his fellows. It says, "I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days," this is going to Yahweh, right, the Lord, who people call God, whatever the case may be. His name is Yahweh. It says, "Unto the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom." And we're entering into that time now. We're at the last, basically the last days of Esau's rulership, his reign, on planet Earth, right? So that's where we're at in the world now. That's why you see these things happening in the world. It says, "Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. Right, and we're living in a time now where Esau Edom has done that. The so-called white man has done that. He has devoured and treaded down and broke down all nations. Right, he is the leader. Right, it says, "And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise with them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings." Right. So once again, this is going into America. The 10 horns are going into the vassal states. And you have to think, simultaneously with the Roman Empire compared to the American Empire, right? So it says, "And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings." So now this is talking about America itself. The Spanish, the French, and the British going into the Revolutionary Wars is what America subdued. America is basically a daughter to Britain. It broke off from Britain. It says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, and times and dividing of time." So this is the revised Roman Empire, the American Empire, right? That broke away from what Britain and came over here, put the Israelites to slavery. But what did they do? It says, "And shall wear out the saints of the Most High." So that's the part of going into slavery and things like that. The black man, woman, and child, and even those of us that are lighter in complexion because of slavery. Mixed the seed is mixed between nations. So basically we're all the same. As in some of us could be look lighter, some of us could be darker, whatnot. It says, "And to think to change times and laws." So that's what Esau even did. He did change times and laws. So you get that word time, because I just showed you, which it goes back to that 1582 is when that calendar was changed. So the times here says a set time season. So that's the point pretty much. Time is going into time. It says, "But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and destroy it unto the end." So basically, Esau Edom will have his period of time where he will be ruling and do what he do. But now we're in a time where the judgment shall sit, and his kingdom is going to be taken away, because the Lord Yahushua is on the way to do just that. It says, "And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him." Right. So when Yahushua comes and set up his kingdom, all dominions, all people, all everywhere around the earth will bow the knee, will worship and be in subjection to this kingdom. Right. It says, "Here too is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cognition must trouble me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart, which is his mind." So this was a heavy vision that the prophet Daniel seen, right? It is going to the kingdoms that shall rule the world. And then, of course, America coming out of that and doing, like I said, changing the times. So when did the Renaissance start? Because America lost its power, the Roman Empire fell, and then basically during that period of time, which is history that Esau even tries to hide, going back to the Dark Ages, is when the Israelites ruled. This was the Byzantine Empire, right? So shortly after that, the Renaissance period started, and that's when Esau Edom started to regain his control and foothold over the world, right? Which is led up to now the American Empire, basically, which is the revised Roman Empire. When did the Renaissance start? The Renaissance generally started in the 14th century in Italy, specifically around the 13th and 14th centuries in Florence. While there's no single defining event, it's marked by a cultural and intellectual rebirth, particularly the rediscovery of classical Greek and Roman ideas in art. Right, Esau went in and just found everything that was there, the histories, the documents, the building structure, and all that, and just took it all back. Right. It says this period, which some consider to have lasted until the 17th century, saw significant advancements in art, science, and philosophy. Anyway, 14th century, it says, however, it is generally believed to have begun in Italy during the 14th century after the end of the Middle Ages, and it reached its height there between the 1490s and the 1520s, a period referred to as the High Renaissance. So basically, America came back into power during this Renaissance period, and you can see the dates right here. So shortly after him coming to power, the calendar was changed. Going back to Daniel 7:25, it says that he and think to change times and laws. So that's Esau Edom. Esau Edom has the power. right? And the times and laws were changed by the people that came to power during that time. You see, Satan here is bound. So, going back to, like I said, into that history where the Roman Empire fell, but then it talks about what? The Roman Empire coming back. It says, and this is that Renaissance period, Revelation 20:7, and when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth. And that's what he did. He went out to deceive the nations, and he also changed these times and laws. It says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So that's exactly what this so-called white man now is doing today, right? You individuals that's listening, all you are screaming about, you want peace, you don't want war. You say you voted for Trump for him not to do war, but he's doing what the scriptures said he would do, which is go out and basically go to battle with Gog and Magog, which is Russia, right? And that's what's now happening in the world. So the scriptures are very clear, and it's evident that Esau Edom is the so-called white man, right? That's ruling the world today, this last beast system, So, hey, Lord, when you edify from the lesson, I'll say shalom to those for elect, which consists of men, women, and children, shalom.